is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network Limited. We broadcast from our studios at 14 Ocean Boulevard in the Digicel Center, downtown Kingston, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band, 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James. Serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2, RevoNews.ai and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Wednesday, March 11, 2026. Finance Minister commits to helping more Jamaicans understand how financial markets work. Meanwhile, the Finance Minister is defending the government's GDP projections amid criticism from the Fiscal Commission. Analysts say Finance Minister's budget presentation focused on policy, governance, and how to improve people's lives. In regional news, Trinidad and Tobago abandons paper-based immigration system. In international news, cargo ships on fire in Strait of Hormuz after 3 vessels were hit by projectiles. In sports, ICC rejects claim of bias amid failure to fly West Indies and the South Africa teams out of India. And in business, shipping companies warn that costs associated with ongoing war in the Middle East will be passed on to consumers. The details after the break.
Morning after morning, you've made Nationwide 90 FM part of your routine. So let's take this connection one step closer. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club and be part of it officially on Patreon.
Family.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Finance Minister Favour Williams says the government is aiming to demystify the workings of financial markets in order to make them more accessible to a broad cross-section of the population. She made the point during her opening budget presentation on Tuesday as she spoke about work being done to entice even more Jamaicans to get involved in fixed-income trading platforms.
I know that ordinary Jamaicans who are focused on putting dinner on the table may not be conversant with fixed income trading platforms or the many reforms I have outlined or how it would affect their lives positively. But that is what governments must do. Identify friction in the economy and solve it for the benefit of the people. And so, Madam Speaker, our plan is to transform the traditional opaque and fragmented bond markets by centralizing access, automating workflows, and unlocking powerful analytics for all participants.
Fixed income trading involves buying and selling debt securities, such as government bonds and mortgage-backed securities, to generate regular interest income and capital appreciation. The minister says the implementation of the platform is expected to reduce transaction settlement time and increase participation by both domestic and international investors. She says the implementation of the platform represents yet another crucial reform being made to the economy by the Holness administration.
The fixed income trading platforms will establish a centralized and standardized framework for the listing, trading, and management of Government of Jamaica's security. To increase secondary market trading, the Government of Jamaica, in collaboration with the BOJ, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and the Financial Services Commission, intends to launch the fixed income trading platform in very short order. Madam Speaker, all of these reforms that I've outlined for the financial sector have one aim, Madam Speaker, to make the financial sector work better for the Jamaican people and the businesses, full stop.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. Meanwhile, the minister says the government is moving to ensure it renews the various insurance instruments which proved critically important in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Melissa.
Jamaicans are attuned to the significant benefit of the government having a rainy day fund, a hurricane fund. We're working to replenish the suite of disaster risk financing instruments to protect against the uncertainty of natural disasters. Accordingly, the government intends to renew the CRIF insurance policy. The government will also maintain savings in the NNDRF, the NDF, and contingency funds, as well as seek to renew contingency credit lines to bolster our risk retention capabilities. The government will also continue to explore other instruments to build structural resilience, thereby mitigating potential damage.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. The government drew down about $300 million from multiple disaster risk instruments within weeks of Hurricane Melissa's devastating impact on the island. The turnaround was remarkable given that such payouts usually only begin to reach governments months after a natural disaster. And Finance Minister Favour Williams is defending the government's projections for an expansion in gross domestic product GDP in the new fiscal year, which starts on April 1. She was responding to concerns raised in a recent report done by the Independent Fiscal Commission.
The bottom line is CPI and GDP deflator are related, but not the same thing. In normal times, they track closely, and there's little difference. However, in the aftermath of an event like a Category 5 hurricane, where domestic production in certain areas has been decimated with scarcity influencing price of locally produced goods, and there's a surge in demand for reconstruction from citizens and businesses, we can have a wider than usual variance between CPI and the GDP deflator. It is not abnormal or suspicious.
The GDP deflator referenced by the Finance Minister is a measure of the price of all new domestically produced goods and services in an economy over a fiscal year relative to the real value of said goods and services. Its real purpose is to indicate whether GDP growth is due to increased production or higher prices. In the report, the Fiscal Commission questioned the nominal GDP growth projection of 9.2% alongside a decline in real GDP growth. The Commission says that the projections do not align with current inflation trends and post-disaster price behavior. But Minister Williams says there's no mystery in the numbers.
He's right that government's reconstruction activity in Jamaica has historically been delayed. He's right that capital underspending at the level of government is an issue. But, Madam Speaker, if our GDP deflator projection rests entirely on government-executed reconstruction, I would be standing here on weaker ground, but it does not. The primary driver of near-term reconstruction price pressure will be the private sector by way of insurance-financed hotel refurbishment, household rebuilding, and foreign direct investment in damaged commercial infrastructure.
Favour Williams, the finance minister, she was speaking in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Now, senior lecturer of economics at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, Dr. Christine Clark, is commending Finance Minister Favour Williams for an opening budget presentation that focused on policy and governance changes that can improve people's lives.
I think the minister has moved the discussion towards more policy, more towards innovation, as well as more towards a governance that will need to carry us going forward, especially with respect to the financial sector. The changes in pension will require additional levels of governance and oversight from trustees, etc., as well as from workers as they enter into this new phase of investments. It's a very moderate step forward. It's not a wholesale, you can invest in anything, but still it will require changes in how the trustees work. I think it would also drive more competition in the financial sector as a whole. It's a different approach to the problems that we've been having, and hopefully they will yield some results.
Dr. Christine Clark, a senior lecturer of economics at the Mona. Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, Catherine Silvera, credited the finance minister for trying to explain technical concepts in a manner that the average Jamaican could follow the presentation.
I think definitely that we need to be focused on the substance of what is being said, but we also need to make sure that it is being said in a way that the average Jamaican is going to understand what it is. And so I think using examples are very important, using the PowerPoint to enunciate the high key points of the speech. That's very important, I think, because the average Jamaican needs to understand what the finance minister is saying and not make it so highly economical that it might fly over the average Jamaican.
Do you think she achieved that today?
I think that she did a very fair job. I think there could have been some more use of examples, yes.
Catherine Silvera, president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. They were speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday. Tax expert and managing director of APERT Advisory Services, Alison Peart, is suggesting that the government look at cutting back on the amounts it pays out for consulting services and instead trust workers in the civil service with getting certain tasks done. Peart was reacting to the opening speech in the budget debate for the new fiscal year delivered by Finance Minister Favour Williams.
We need to look at, for example, what are the consultancies that we have foreigners doing or people doing that are duplicative. We have an amazing public sector. We have given them a raise. I think our public sector can be doing much more. We need to look to make sure we're efficient. We need our government to be run the way that my granny would run her little yam farm. When things tight, you ban your belly and you do. So I think we need to have a clinical look at where our money is spent as a government. If we have an amazing public sector, use them. And nobody knows our country more than we do. We don't need to import anybody to tell us what to do.
Alison Peart, a tax expert and a managing director of APERT Advisory Services. Her position on cutting costs in the public sector received support from President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Catherine Silvera.
Private sector business can't just always increase our pricing to our consumers. We also have to look at our expenses and see how can we save on expenditure. Can we purchase something more affordably? Can we cut positions and merge them? Can different departments do the same job? I think that is something that should be looked at. It's a reality that the wage bill is at almost 13% of GDP and takes up, I think they said, 60 cents of every dollar that the government earns. And not saying that the public sector is not valuable. It certainly is.
But is that value for money?
But is it value for money? Can things be merged? And I can tell you that private sector needs employees.
Catherine Silvera, president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. They were speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday. In other news now, 4 men have been charged in connection with the seizure of over 2,000 pounds of ganja earlier this month. They are 57-year-old Paul Stanley Kelly, 40-year-old Omar Nard, 37-year-old Akeeman McCoy, and 35-year-old Carl Manderson. They are charged with possession of ganja, dealing in ganja, trafficking ganja, taking steps to export ganja, and a conspiracy to export ganja. The men were arrested on Tuesday, March 3, during a joint operation in Alligator Pond, St. Elizabeth. Manchester. The operation was a coordinated effort between the Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division and the Jamaica Defence Force Coast Guard. It's reported that the joint team intercepted a vessel with the 4 men on board. A search of the vessel turned up several knitted bags of compressed ganja. The drug has an estimated street value of 15 million Jamaican dollars. A parent of a student at Belmont Park Primary in St. Catherine is raising concern over the failure of the leadership at the institution to exercise a duty of care to her child after he suffered injuries on the school grounds last Friday. The parent says her child suffered a blow to the head, which left a significant swelling, and also endured a severe nosebleed. But the school's principal has denied the claim of a lack of care for the child, saying the parent didn't allow administrators to respond adequately. Khaleesi Wright reports.
The parent, Elori Ellis, says a call from her son last Friday morning sent her into panic mode.
The incident occurred very early in the morning because when he called me, it was roughly around 7:50 in the morning. When he called me, he video called me, and I saw a huge swelling on his face and his nose was bleeding very bad. So instantly, I want to know what happened, rushing out of the house to get to him. So when I reached out, I said, Lamar, where are you? She said that she's inside of the office. So I said, are they taking you to see the doctor? Said, no, the principal told him to call me. So I said, the principal told her to call me.
She says due to the seriousness of the injuries, she was forced to seek urgent medical care for him. Ellis says, according to her child's account of the incident, he collided with another student. She says she was unconvinced as the child had previously been a victim of bullying at the school. Speaking with our news center on Tuesday, Ellis says she was deeply concerned about the lack of communication from the school. She noted that there was no documented first aid response, no attempt to seek medical attention, and no effort made to notify a parent or guardian despite the visible signs her child had suffered a head injury.
My take on it is, let's say, quote unquote, it's an accident regarding 2 children. You're telling me that there was no proper notification to me as a parent to let me know that there's an incident at the school regarding my son. There was no one there to try to give the child any form of medical assistance. If I was present or close by, I want to know what would have happened. Send an email asking them to tell me what had happened regarding the child. Why was I not notified? No one said anything to me, even up to today, no talking to you.
In response, the school's principal, Roy John Keith, says the parent did not give the school an opportunity to respond to the incident.
I could say on the record that yes, we knew of the incident. The mother came to the school, did not give the school a chance. She didn't give the school the time to initiate the protocol. All right, this is something that happened before school started. So by the time we reached him, he had already called his mommy. By the time the office door opened and he was sitting down, mommy came in, she took him up, went for his bag, took him out, didn't say a word to us. If she had done that, we would have enacted the protocol to get the assistance that he needed. Of course, the school is willing to reach out to the mother to resolve the issue.
Khaleesi Wright for Nationwide News.
And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:18.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, leave a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God, me say you watch you off, me practice.
In regional and international news this morning, in regional news in Trinidad and Tobago, the government is set to host a press conference later on Wednesday to announce details of its new online immigration system. According to The Guardian, the Immigration Division of the Ministry of Homeland Security has informed the stakeholders that the online arrival and departure card platform is scheduled to go live on March 17. The platform is intended to modernize the immigration process by allowing travelers to submit their arrival and departure declarations electronically before traveling. Passengers will be required to access the government's portal at travel.gov.tt, where they must first create an account using a valid email address before completing the form. Travelers will also be required to upload a photograph of the biodata page of the passport they intend to use for travel. International, 3 commercial ships have been damaged by unknown projectiles in the Strait of Hormuz, with at least one catching fire. 23 crew members on board one ship are reportedly being rescued. Earlier, the U.S. military said it eliminated 16 Iranian mine-laying ships in the area after President Donald Trump warned Iran not to put out any mines there. Iran continues its strikes across the region, including in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Kuwait. 4 people were injured when 2 drones fell near Dubai Airport, but air traffic has not been affected. It's the second drone attack in the area in recent days, as Israel launches renewed attacks on Iran and Lebanon, with reports of a strike on an apartment building in central Beirut. Earlier, Iran's police chief said any Iranians thinking of protesting against the government would be dealt with in the same way they deal with the enemy. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
You could win a return on your taxes. Pay your taxes with your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card at Tax Administration Jamaica or online for your chance to be one of 2 lucky winners of $500,000 cashback. Earn an entry for every $100,000 spent on taxes between February 27 and April 15. Plus, enjoy a 1-month payment holiday up to 55 days interest-free and unlimited reward points. Visit Sagicor.com to learn more. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Time now for your morning sports. The International Cricket Council, ICC, has rejected claims of bias over the travel arrangements involving West Indies and South Africa. While the West Indies remain in India more than a week after they were eliminated, and South Africa still there days after their exit from the tournament, England were able to depart 2 days after losing their semi-final. Former England captain Michael Vaughan says it's wrong and unfair what happened to West Indies and South Africa. He said all teams in this situation should be treated the same, but an ICC spokesman says decisions on departure sequencing are being driven solely by airspace availability, aircraft routing permissions, visa requirements, and operational safety considerations. Assistant coach of Harborview, Rudolph Stennett, says he's still confident the Stars of the East can avoid relegation from the Red Nephi Jamaica Premier League this season. Harborview stumbled against Racing United in their latest encounter, losing 3-0. They are now 13th on the table with 21 points, 4 behind 12th place Malines United. The defeat was Harborview's 13th in 26 games this season.
I am very much confident. We have a next round, which is about 13 games. I think we can come out the relegation zone, and we plan to come out the relegation zone. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're just gonna take it to the pitch, and the best man win on the day. It's an honor for me being here and coaching Harborview and try to take them out the relegation zone. Me and Lenny Hyde, and that's our intentions.
Rudolph Stennett. Finally, in your morning sports, 4 more first-round ties are on Wednesday in the European Champions League. Arsenal, who ended the first round with a perfect record, are away to Bayer Leverkusen in Germany. Manchester City face Real Madrid in the pick of the tie in Madrid. And defending champions, PSG host Chelsea. Lamine Yamal scored a penalty late into added time to rescue a 1-1 draw for Barcelona against Newcastle at St. James Park on Tuesday. Harvey Barnes had given the Magpies an 86-minute lead. Liverpool suffered a 1-0 defeat in Turkey to Galatasaray in Arne Slot's 100th game in charge. Gabon international Mario Lemina scored with only 7 minutes gone in the game. Bayern Munich were rampant in Italy. They crushed Atalanta 6-1 in Bergamo, while Tottenham Hotspur crashed 5-2 in the Spanish capital to Atletico Madrid. And that's it for your morning sports.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall.
Upper total tools.
Weed waka figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
In business this morning, increased transport costs driven by the conflict in Iran will be passed on to consumers. That's according to the boss of one of the world's second biggest shipping companies. Vincent Clerc, chief executive of Maersk, told the BBC that the Danish shipping giant has mechanisms in place, so if fuel prices go up or down, customers will feel the impact. Since the U.S.-Israel war with Iran began, oil prices have soared close to $120 per barrel. The price of crude oil is nearly 20% higher than it was before hostilities broke out. Maersk is dominated by its container shipping arm, which plays a vital role in moving goods such as toys, clothing, and electronics around the world. The war has brought transportation through the vital Strait of Hormuz route to a standstill. Before the conflict, around a fifth of global oil supplies traveled through the route. Meta, the owner of Instagram and Facebook, has bought Moltebook, a social media networking platform for artificial intelligence bots to speak to each other. The deal will move Notebook's team into Meta's superintelligence labs. Meta says the move will bring new ways for AI agents to work for people and businesses. The Reddit-like site started as an experiment in January for AI-powered programs to have their own conversations and even gossip about their human owners on Notebook's forums. Many in the technology industry have been captivated by the computer-led dialogue on Notebook's forums, but it has also fueled cybersecurity and ethical concerns regarding AI's autonomy. In foreign exchange trading now, the Jamaican dollar will open against the benchmark US dollar, selling for an average $157.71. Against the Canadian, the Jamaican will open, selling for an average $115.82. And finally, the Jamaican dollar will begin trading for an average $211.72 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
Register your property or update an existing title through the Land Administration and Management Division. The time by the National Land Agency is
6:30.
Every day, Rosie has a glass of fruit drink with breakfast, an energy drink on the way to work, a flavored water with lunch, and 2 glasses of soda with dinner, which adds up to more than 50 teaspoons of sugar a day. And all that extra sugar could bring on obesity. Are we drinking ourselves sick? 71% of Jamaicans support a tax on sugary drinks, help tackle obesity and protect our children's future. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Over a month ago, we invited you to be a part of something special, something different. And you know what? Over 500 of you said, all right, we're in. That means over 500 of you decided to move from just being a listener to being a part of the family. The Nationwide Family Club isn't just an idea anymore. It's real, it's growing, and it feels good.
And because family looks out for family, for the entire month of March, we're doing something extra. Every single week, one family club member will win a $25,000 supermarket voucher. That's 4 winners, 4 weeks, 4 real chances. Because when you stick with us, we believe you should feel it. Loyalty shouldn't just be appreciated, it should feel rewarded.
The Nationwide Family Club is where you, our listeners, come closer. Not just hearing the stories, but seeing how they're made. Not just listening to the voices, but connecting with the people behind them. In the Family Club, you get early access to documentaries, exclusive content on air, member-only conversations, birthday shout-outs, breaking news alerts, and depending on your tier, studio experiences and private live streams. That's not just regular radio. That's family access.
This isn't just a subscription. It's connection. It's community. It's saying, I support what you do, and I want to be closer to it. More content, more interactions, more behind the scenes, and now, more chances to win.
And if you've been watching from the sidelines, we've been saving a seat for you. Join today. Be a part of the first 1,000 family members. And this March, you could be one of 4 people walking away with a $25,000 supermarket voucher. Go to patreon.com/ Nationwide News Network, the Nationwide Family Club, closer than radio, stronger than ever, and growing with you, our family.
You have always made a way, God. Oh God, oh God. Some days high and some days low, but I will not give up. No, I won't let go. I know God will make a way for me. Yeah. Oh, I keep troubles on the left, troubles on the right. Trusting in you, oh God, I know I'll be alright. I know God will make a way for me. You're the God of the valley, the mountains and the sea. So I will not worry. You will make a way for me. Powerful and mighty, you provide all of my needs. Through the storms I will believe that you will make a way for me. So even if my eyes can't see, deep down I do believe. If you can part the sea for Moses, you can open doors for me. I know, oh yeah, you will make a way for me. Father, you have never once failed me, kept my family. Jesus, fight for me. You are Jehovah Nissi. You will never Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Tear down the walls of Jericho. Oh, I know you will take good care of me. God of the valley.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Nationwide This Morning NTM. Thank you so much for coming on over this Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday, March 11, 2026. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Good morning, Tawna. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, viewers. My name is George.
Hey to you, George.
What up?
I'm here.
Cool.
Happy Hump Day.
Oh yes, hump day. Yes, hump day. Yes. It's half of the week, no? Yeah, man. The week of fly.
The months are flying.
Yeah, like we go somewhere fast. I wonder where.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah.
You used to watch The Jeffersons?
The Jeffersons. No man. I think
George
so.
Jefferson and Louise and
Yes, man.
Weezy here.
Yes,
So
yes.
George's mother used to say, George. See, does that?
Yes.
Yeah, George's mother.
Yeah. My lady Weezy. Yeah.
Moving on up.
To the hillside.
Not the hillside, Tawna, to the east side.
Oh, it's the east side.
Yeah. It's funny what you hear in the song, innit? All of us have it. All of us have it.
It was.
All of us have it.
But the east side makes way more sense.
The east side, yeah. Not the hillside.
Right.
Listeners, so I was torn between doing an assessment of the budget presentation and something that has emerged in recent time regarding the retreat of academic intellectuals from the public discourse. But it's budget time, and there'll always be a time to talk about the retreat of academic intellectuals from the public discourse, so that can come at another time. Yesterday's budget left me feeling very strange. I need to mute my phone. In fact, I felt strange before the presentation. I felt strange before the presentation, even while we were doing the pre-discussion with Donovan Wignall yesterday morning. And as Favour Williams went through her presentation and I read through the text of her speech before she reached certain parts, the feeling of strangeness intensified. I've always been a fan of budget presentations. I've always been drawn to it. There are things you are drawn to without people leading you there, and there are things you are drawn to because people push you in that direction. Nobody pushed me there. I just by myself. And I've spoken about going home and watching the budget analysis being done by Basil Buck, and going to school and trying to engage my high school friends in discussions about what the finance minister said and nobody not pay me no mind. Yeah, so I've always been. And I mentioned that not just to mention it, but to say the feeling I had leading into this budget presentation, markedly different from the feelings then and the feelings as an adult with a greater level of understanding of what was said, and even as a practitioner with an even deeper understanding. Yeah? Strange feeling. Why did I feel strange? I felt strange because it's almost as if for the first time the budget for me was anticlimactic. Anticlimactic, not because of the performance of the finance minister in presenting the budget. That's not it at all. But anticlimactic because for the first time there was no jeopardy in the budget. There was no mystery. There was no sense of foreboding. There was no sense of, Lord God, what am I going to announce now? Mm-hmm. Because all of the revenue measures were front-loaded, presented, discussed to death. And though there were some significant unknowns at the time the revenue measures were tabled, and those unknowns remained after Standing Finance Committee, and of course those unknowns remain after the presentation yesterday, i.e. the digital services part. I still felt as if yesterday's exercise was the greatest anomaly in the series of budget presentations that I've been paying attention to. And perhaps for those older than myself, they'll tell you that they've never felt an opening budget presentation in the way that they digested the one by Favour Williams yesterday. And I would say that's a good thing. That's a good thing because we did put to Donovan Wignall on Tuesday that unlike previous occasions when businesses would lament, Lord have mercy, this tax is coming or this adjustment is coming, and it just fell on us like I don't like to say a ton of bricks. I like to use the expression used by the late Biggie Smalls when he says it drops unexpectedly like bird poop. Let's say bird poop because children listen to this program. They would lament how taxes fell on their shoulders as if they were walking on Ocean Boulevard here in downtown Kingston, and a bird just do the business and it just drop on them. That's how taxes and changes used to fall on business people. That is not the case this cycle, and we hope for all cycles to come. They knew. So that was a big difference. And the fact that they got the time to digest the revenue measures and to start making plans for them. I'm suggesting that many people who run business weren't really paying attention yesterday to what was being said by the finance minister. The sense of your belly bottom are going to drop out was absent. And it's almost as if we are a nation used to floggings, used to being battered at budget time. That rather than getting kicks and punches, we got a hug and we turned fool and don't overreact. Well, that's me. You know, sometimes your parents call you and they call you in a tone of voice. They say, Lord have mercy, I want me to know. And you go expecting a rollicking. and you get a hug. And as parents, we do the same thing to our children. And you can see the surprise after the initial confusion when, rather than berate them, you give a hug or you rub their head or a pat on the back or something. That's almost the reaction from me yesterday, which is good, which is a very good first step in what we hope will be an unbroken series of budget presentations where there is no devil in the details, because the details have been presented up front for you to digest before the main presentation. Now, that said, some things which may have missed some of those who were listening, and certainly missed those who weren't listening, and which are important for the journey we have ahead for the next fiscal year. The finance minister said that given what Melissa has done to the country, 3.39 billion went to the tourism ministry to support the recovery of the tourism sector. Now, these numbers are important because, again, they tell you how your tax dollars are being put to work and what is being done, because you know the inevitable cries that government do nothing or not enough. These are the numbers which you can use to determine if nothing has been done or if sufficient has been done. 3.39 billion from the government went to the Ministry of Tourism to help the industry recover from Melissa. The Development Bank of Jamaica, that most criticized entity because of the bureaucracy in accessing the funds that they have under their thumb, they received 3 billion for the M5 Business Recovery Program, which is intended to accelerate economic recovery and strengthen resilience. Ministry of Water, Environment, Climate Change, Samuda's ministry, it got 3.25 billion to support the NWC alone, 3.25 billion given to the Ministry of Water to support the NWC. Labor and Social Security, Perennial Child's ministry, 11.2 billion, of which 10 billion was grants to the households under the Roofs program. There was also $155 million in cash transferred to PATH recipients. And listen to this, $32 million exclusively for children with disabilities who were impacted by the hurricane. Significant thing, but which most people would have missed. The Education Ministry, 2.3 billion, including 1 million to each of the 616 schools identified. Not a lot of money, $1 million, but it is the allocation. Health and Wellness, 2.3 billion for relief and recovery. Agriculture received 3 billion for relief and recovery. Energy, Transport, Telecoms, 1.5 billion. Local Government and Development got 4.6 billion for NSWMA's pre- and post-hurricane cleanup, and to provide central government support to municipal corporations, they got 1.35 billion, and ODPEM got 1 billion. So again, I'm presenting the figures that she mentioned yesterday to show, well, what have you done with our tax money and the other monies that come to us that really are the Jamaican people's money. There's no such thing as government funds, it's our money, eh? What have you done with it in the light of this disaster? Also included, you heard Desmond McKenzie speak recently about the allocations to help municipal corporations get their financial statements in order so the Auditor General won't have to flag them. 18.8 million for the backlog audit project. 121 million to relocate the Office of the Children's Advocate. 121 million. Indicom are housed in a building where it's not so great. I've been there a couple of times, and yeah. So 372 million will be spent to relocate the Office of the Independent Commission of Investigations. Where NIDS is concerned and the implementation of NIDS, the finance minister says 1.86 billion is going towards that. 1.5 billion is going to the Rural Economic Development Initiative Phase 2. 225 million to the Integrated Community Development Project Phase 2. 150 million for strengthening cybersecurity in the country to include expanding the pool of specialized cybersecurity professionals. You've heard Jassert talk about the shortage of cybersecurity professionals on the island, and as soon as they train them, other countries take them or the private sector takes them. $5.5 billion will be spent on maintaining secondary roads. $5.5 billion. $760 million will go towards the Hope Housing Project, and $50.3 billion will be spent on paying government pensioners. That's just a snapshot of what our money is being spent on in this recovery phase of our development following Melissa. Now, you will determine if the numbers are adequate. You will determine if, it represents the best spend of our money. What you will hear from here on in is that the budget doesn't have anything for the poor. And don't balk at that position. Listen first to what the prescription is as to how to better help the poor in the budget before you criticize. That will come. I will say that this budget too, as someone with the benefit of a tertiary level education, as someone who has been captive to income tax from the moment I started working, for somebody who has always worked 3 and 4 and 5 jobs, and everything you work, you have to give the taxman, or in this case, the taxwoman, a piece. And I'm not pleased with that, but you have to honor your obligations. You can understand why people like me feel a type of way every cycle when all you hear is about, oh, this is not for the poor and not for the poor and this, that, as if we should have stayed poor and not tried to lift ourselves up. And budget after budget, you hear nothing for people like us, the people who hold the country together with our taxes and our endeavor. Yeah? This budget presentation from the finance minister, different from the fixation with doing this for the poor at the expense of every other group in the country. And of course, you're not knocking poor. We were all poor. Some of us who've managed to do a little bit better. And I live by the words of Jay-Z, gone to hip-hop again. He said, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. And I certainly believe in that. And it's a truth that people don't speak because they don't want people to criticize them. So, oh, you don't love poor people. Of course, we came from that bracket. Our family members still qualify and classify as that. But we're saying that those in the country whose work and whose revenue help to fund the activities of this country, we too deserve something, and not to be made to feel as if we have done wrong by improving ourselves. All in all, the budget was unspectacular, it was steady, and it had the kind of tone that a budget presentation ought to have. Nobody should have diarrhea or body come down after a budget presentation by their finance minister, and I doubt strongly that anybody had those things ailing them on Tuesday.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:52.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The Temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 19 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
As a taxi man, every mickle make a muckle. I see way, so BCIC Easy Pay stay.
Having 11 months to pay my car and home insurance, little by little, puts me at ease.
Exactly. With my type of business, I have to fret about pay a big money, yet I always covered. Get as much as 11 months to pay your car and home insurance while enjoying 100% coverage with BCIC Easy Pay.
Time now for Street Smarts with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, sir.
Morning. It's a quick one again. Good morning to all the listeners. Tona, morning time.
Hey, T. Ludlow.
Right, it's bright and sunny, and in the downtown area, if you're there now, definitely you're going to find, if you're coming out of that toll from Portmore onto Marcus Garvey Drive, it's going to be busy, active. Going past the Tinson Pen area, John, it's quite active as you make your way to Water Lane, then Harbour Street. It's building in that area, but when you get to Harbour Street, that's where it is quite active. But going around in the vicinity of Pichon Street, in the vicinity of the Coronation Market, the going is pretty good. You can make your way, no problems, no delays in that particular area. Orange Street also has some traffic, but it's quite all right. As a matter of fact, north, south, east, west parade, you can make it around. It's not too congested at the moment. Building all the time. And I should say, if you're on Stone Road, it's also free-flowing in both directions. Going up Collispit Drive, it is also free-flowing. And Collispit Drive take you to Russell Road, that area. And then in the crossroad there, when you go across, you're going to notice Russell Road quite active. And going across the Retirement Road, to get onto Half the Tree Road, it's really getting busy at that point. But so far, I would say it's more uptown where you have the traffic is streaming at the moment. So it's our first report until 7:20. Back to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 1. It don't look good for Waterloo, heading towards Trafalgar, Bunch up already, and it's 6:54. King, is that a live shot? Mercy. All right, let's do the word of the day.
Your word of the day is spelled Candor. Candor.
Candor. Candor. Candor.
Candor is your word of the day. That's spelling the American version, but the British is spelled Candour. And the meaning, the state or quality of being frank, open, and sincere in speech or expression. Candor is your word of the day. The state or quality of being frank, open, and sincere in speech or expression. And to use it in a sentence, dictionary.com telling us the word was first recorded between 1350 and 1400. This sentence provided by the Wall Street Journal. The Fed publishes the information without naming the businesses to promote candor. Or today there are as many people who admire Michaela's candor as admiring her skiing, also provided by the Wall Street Journal. That's your word of the day. Candor, spelled Candor, or the British version, Candour. Up next are features at the top of the hour, the news.
Giving our dog a regular bath is an essential part of ongoing grooming and good hygiene. Of course, a bath helps remove visible dirt your dog earned through happy walks and romps in natural environments. But in addition to keeping your dog's coat clean, bathing also helps keep it healthy and free from parasites. Today in Pets World, we'll discuss how to properly bathe your dog. Before you even turn on the water, take the time to set up an environment where your dog will be as comfortable as possible and will associate the experience positively. One way to do that is to prepare your dog's coat so the process doesn't trigger discomfort. It's recommended that you take the time to brush your dog's coat, especially if they're longer-haired pups that get frequent tangles. First, you're going to need to determine the right place to bathe your dog. As a starting point, consider the size and breed of your dog to ensure you have space and to best determine whether to bathe your dog indoors or outside. For particularly small dogs, a sink might work best. More likely, it's a bathtub, which can accommodate a range of breed sizes. Bathing your dog outside instead of indoors might be a solid choice for certain breeds in some seasons. Before bathing your furry pal, make sure you are wearing comfortable clothing you don't mind getting wet. Also, ensure you have all the supplies you need, like the tearless shampoo, cotton balls to prevent water getting into the dog's ears, and absorbent towels to dry your dog. Here is professional groomer Renee Bloom with steps on how to properly bathe your dog. When you are finished, towel dry your dog as best you can. Then use either a dog-specific hair dryer or a human one on a medium or cool setting. It's also recommended that you brush your dog as he dries. You could also air dry your dog as long as he doesn't get chills or shiver too much. Now your dog looks and smells fresh. That's it for Pets World today. Until next time.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
Have you ever been turned off or turned away from a company? Or changed your mind about doing business with a company because of how an untrained telephone operator or receptionist answered the phone? This is Lifestyle Pages on Etiquette and Manners. As entrepreneurs or business persons, we need to grow our business and not destroy it due to a lack of telephone manners and etiquette. Let's quickly revise the things that make for good behavior. Good manners, good taste, and knowledge of the current rules of etiquette. It is easiest to learn them because it only requires a set of rules to remember. Magnify basically an attitude of consideration for others. It is really how you feel about others and how you think about them. Good manners is required. The use of kindness, diplomacy, common sense are all necessary and always involves being kind to others. Good taste is all about modesty. Exposing private body parts, whether we are male or female, is never in good taste. I'm Valerie, and those were Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
One nation, one purpose. To rebuild stronger than before. Build it to last with tools and equipment from National Supply. The temperature by National Supply is...
24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 19 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news today, Wednesday, March 11, 2026, Finance Minister commits to helping more Jamaicans understand how financial markets work. Meanwhile, the Finance Minister is defending the government's GDP projections amid criticism from the Fiscal Commission. Analysts say Finance Minister's budget presentation focused on policy, governance, and how to improve people's lives. And in international news, cargo ships on fire in Strait of Hormuz after 3 vessels were hit by projectiles.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Finance Minister Favour Williams says the government is aiming to demystify the workings of financial markets in order to make them more accessible to a broad cross-section of the population. She made the point during her opening budget presentation on Tuesday as she spoke about work being done to entice even more Jamaicans to get involved in fixed income trading platforms.
I know that ordinary Jamaicans who are focused on putting dinner on the table may not be conversant with fixed income trading platforms or the many reforms I have outlined or how it would affect their lives positively. But that is what governments must do. Identify friction in the economy and solve it for the benefit of the people. And so, Madam Speaker, our plan is to transform the traditional opaque and fragmented bond markets by centralizing access, automating workflows, and unlocking powerful analytics for all participants.
Fixed income trading involves buying and selling debt securities such as government bonds and mortgage-backed securities to generate regular interest income and capital appreciation. The minister says the implementation of the platform is expected to reduce transaction settlement time and increase participation by both domestic and international investors. She says the implementation of the platform represents yet another crucial reform being made to the economy by the Holness administration.
The fixed income trading platforms will establish a centralized and standardized framework for the listing, trading, and management of Government of Jamaica's security. To increase secondary market trading, the Government of Jamaica, in collaboration with the BOJ, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and the Financial Services Commission, intends to launch the fixed income trading platform in very short order. Madam Speaker, all of these reforms that I've outlined for the financial sector have one aim, Madam Speaker, to make the financial sector work better for the Jamaican people and the businesses, full stop.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. Meanwhile, the minister says the government is moving to ensure it renews the various insurance instruments which proved critically important in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Melissa.
Jamaicans are attuned to the significant benefit of the government having a rainy day fund, a hurricane fund. We're working to replenish the suite of disaster risk financing instruments to protect against the uncertainty of natural disasters. Accordingly, the government intends to renew the CRIF insurance policy. The government will also maintain savings in the NNDRF, the NDF, and contingency funds, as well as seek to renew contingency credit lines to bolster our risk retention capabilities. The government will also continue to explore other instruments to build structural resilience, thereby mitigating potential damage.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. The government drew down about $300 million from multiple disaster risk instruments within weeks of Hurricane Melissa's devastating impact on the island. The turnaround was remarkable given that such payouts usually only begin to reach governments months after a natural disaster. The Finance Minister is defending the government's projections for an expansion in gross domestic product (GDP) in the new fiscal year, which starts on April 1. She was responding to concerns raised in a recent report done by the Independent Fiscal Commission.
The bottom line is CPI and GDP deflator are related, but not the same thing. In normal times, they track closely, and there's little difference. However, in the aftermath of an event like a Category 5 hurricane, where domestic production in certain areas has been decimated with scarcity influencing price of locally produced goods, and there's a surge in demand for reconstruction from citizens and businesses, we can have a wider than usual variance between CPI and the GDP deflator. It is not abnormal or suspicious.
The GDP deflator referenced by the Finance Minister is a measure of the price of all new domestically produced goods and services in an economy over a fiscal year relative to the real value of said goods and services. Its real purpose is to indicate whether GDP growth is due to increased production or higher prices. In the report, the Fiscal Commission questioned the nominal GDP growth projection of 9.2% alongside the decline in real GDP growth. The Commission says the projections do not align with current inflation trends and post-disaster price behavior. But Minister Williams says there's no mystery in the numbers.
He's right that government's reconstruction activity in Jamaica has historically been delayed. He's right that capital underspending at the level of government is an issue. But, Madam Speaker, if our GDP deflator projection rests entirely on government-executed reconstruction, I would be standing here on weaker ground, but it does not. The primary driver of near-term reconstruction price pressure will be the private sector by way of insurance-financed hotel refurbishment, household rebuilding, and foreign direct investment in damaged commercial infrastructure.
Favour Williams, Finance Minister, speaking in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Senior Lecturer of Economics at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, Dr. Christine Clark, is commending the Finance Minister for an opening budget presentation that focused on policy and governance changes that can improve people's lives.
I think the minister has moved the discussion towards more policy, more towards innovation, as well as more towards a governance that will need to carry us going forward, especially with respect to the financial sector. The changes in pension will require additional levels of governance and oversight from trustees, etc., as well as from workers as they enter into this new phase of investments. It's a very moderate step forward. It's not a wholesale, you can invest in anything, but still it will require changes in how the trustees work. I think it would also drive more competition in the financial sector as a whole. It's a different approach to the problems that we've been having, and hopefully they will yield some results.
Dr. Christine Clark, Senior Lecturer of Economics at the UWI Mona. Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Catherine Silvera, credited the Finance Minister for trying to explain technical concepts in a manner that the average Jamaican could follow the presentation.
I think definitely that we need to be focused on the substance of what is being said, but we also need to make sure that it is being said in a way that the average Jamaican is going to understand what it is. And so I think using examples are very important, using the PowerPoint to enunciate the high key points of the speech. That's very important, I think, because the average Jamaican needs to understand what the finance minister is saying and not make it so highly economical that it might fly over the average Jamaican.
Do you think she achieved that today?
I think that she did a very fair job. I think there could have been some more use of examples, yes.
Catherine Silvera, president of the JMEA, both herself and Dr. Clark were speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday. Meanwhile, tax expert and the managing director of A. Peart Advisory Services, Alison Peart, is suggesting that the government look at cutting back on the amounts it pays out for consulting services and instead trust workers in the civil service with getting certain tasks done. Peart was reacting to the opening speech in the budget debate for the new fiscal year delivered by the Finance Minister, Favour Williams.
We need to look at, for example, what are the consultancies that we have foreigners doing or people doing that are duplicative. We have an amazing public sector. We have given them a raise. I think our public sector can be doing much more. We need to look to make sure we're efficient. We need our government to be run the way that my granny would run her little yam farm. When things tight, you bang your belly and you do. So I think we need to have a clinical look at where our money is spent as a government. If we have an amazing public sector, use them. And nobody knows our country more than we do. We don't need to import anybody to tell us what to do.
Alison Peart, tax expert and the managing director of A. Peart Advisory Services. Her position on cutting costs in the public sector received support from President of the JMEA, Catherine Silvera.
Private sector business can't just always increase our pricing to our consumers. We also have to look at our expenses and see how can we save on expenditure. Can we purchase something more affordably? Can we cut positions and merge them? Can different departments do the same job? I think that is something that should be looked at. It's a reality that the wage bill is at almost 13% of GDP and takes up, I think they said, 60 cents of every dollar that the government earns. And not saying that the public sector is not valuable. It certainly is.
But is that value for money?
But is it value for money? Can things be merged? And I can tell you that private sector needs employees.
Catherine Silvera, JMEA president, and she was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday. 4 men have been charged in connection with the seizure of over 2,000 pounds of ganja earlier this month. They are 57-year-old Paul Stanley Kelly, 40-year-old Omar Nard, 37-year-old Ashima McCoy, and 35-year-old Carl Manderson. They are charged with possession of, dealing in, trafficking, taking steps to export, and conspiracy to export ganja. The men were arrested on Tuesday, March 3 during a joint operation in Alligator Pond, St. Elizabeth. The operation was a coordinated effort between the Firearms and the Narcotics Investigation Division and the Jamaica Defence Force Coast Guard. It's reported that the joint team intercepted a vessel with the 4 men on board. A search of the vessel turned up several knitted bags of compressed ganja. The drug has an estimated street value of 15 million Jamaican dollars. A parent of a student at Belmont Park Primary in St. Catherine is raising concern over the failure of the leadership at the institution to exercise a duty of care to her child after he suffered injuries on the school grounds last Friday. The parent says her child suffered a blow to the head which left a significant swelling and that he also endured a severe nosebleed. But the school's principal has denied the claim of a lack of care for the child, saying the parent didn't allow administrators to respond adequately. Colesia Wright reports.
The parent, Elori Ellis, says a call from her son last Friday morning sent her into panic mode.
The incident occurred very early in the morning because when he called me, it was roughly around 7:50 in the morning. When he called me, he video called me and I saw a huge swelling on his face and his nose was bleeding very bad. So instantly, I want to know what happened, rushing out of the house to get to him. So when I reached out, I said, Lamar, where are you? He said that he's inside of the office. So I said, are they taking you to see any doctor? He said, no, the principal told him to call me. So I said, the principal told her to call me?
She says due to the seriousness of the injuries, she was forced to seek urgent medical care for him. Ellis says, according to her child's account of the incident, he collided with another student. She says she was unconvinced as the child had previously been a victim of bullying at the school. Speaking with our news center on Tuesday, Ellis says she was deeply concerned about the lack of communication from the school. She noted that there was no documented first aid response, no attempt to seek medical attention, and no effort made to notify a parent or guardian despite the visible signs her child had suffered a head injury.
My take on it is, let's say, quote unquote, it's an accident regarding two children. They're telling me that there was no proper notification to me as a parent to let me know that there's an incident at the school regarding my son. There was no one there to try to give the child any form of medical assistance. If I was present or close by, I want to know what would have happened. Send an email asking them to tell me what had happened regarding the child. Why was I not notified? No one said anything to me, even up to today, no talking to you.
In response, the school's principal, Roy John Keith, says the parent did not give the school an opportunity to respond to the incident.
I could say on the record that yes, we knew of the incident. The mother came to the school, did not give the school a chance. She didn't give the school the time to initiate the protocol. All right, this is something that happened before school started. So by the time we reached him, he had already called his mommy. By the time the office door opened and he was sitting down, mommy came in, she took him up, went for his bag, took him out, didn't say a word to us. If she had done that, we would have enacted the protocol to get the assistance that he needed. Of course, the school is willing to reach out to the mother to resolve the issue.
Colesia Wright for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Colesia. Several Hackney carriage operators withdrew their services across the corporate area on Tuesday morning as they pressed the government and the Transport Authority to create more designated operating routes. The action follows the seizure of several taxis by the authority on Monday. President of Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, Todd's Edgerton Newman, says he has been advocating for the issue, for changes for more than 2 years.
The transport operators that fly a so-called route from Seaview to Harford Tree, from Waterhouse to Harford Tree, Price Right to downtown Kingston and other areas, a couple of other areas, they are being impacted because the Transport Authority, the JUTC, are unable to confirm a route arrangement for them. And so we have been lobbying the government for the past 2 years, 2.5 years. And of course, we have received about 22 routes or so from the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, but these areas have not received a route. What they're asking the Jamaica Urban Transit for is to give them the opportunity to utilize the area that they're operating in as a route.
A Hackney carriage is licensed to carry passengers for hire and can stand or ply for hire in public areas. But the law says they may carry no more than 4 passengers and that those 4 passengers must be traveling together. In contrast, a route taxi can carry passengers paying separate fares along a designated route and is allowed to stop to pick up or drop off commuters along that route. Route taxis must have 10 seats or fewer. Newman says a meeting has been set for Wednesday with government officials and the Transport Authority to discuss the concerns of his members.
in communicating with the Transport Authority, the JUTC, and the Minister this morning, they have agreed to meet with us tomorrow at 12 noon at the Transport Center in Halfway Tree. So we asked the operators to go back to work, and they're back at work now. Tomorrow, we are hoping that all will go well for them. We get some good words, especially from the JUTC, in terms of granting the route or a relaxation of the seizure of the vehicles until something is worked out.
Edgerton Newman, president of TODS. International news now. 3 commercial ships have been damaged by unknown projectiles in the Strait of Hormuz, with at least one catching fire. 23 crew members on board one ship were reportedly rescued. Earlier, the U.S. military said it eliminated 16 Iranian mine-laying ships in the area after President Trump warned Iran not to put out any mines there. Iran continues its strikes across the region, including in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Kuwait. 4 people were injured when 2 drones fell near Dubai airport, but air traffic has not been affected. It's the second drone attack in the area in recent days. This as Israel launches renewed attacks on Iran and Lebanon, with reports of a strike on an apartment building in central Beirut. Earlier, Iran's police chief said any Iranians thinking of protesting against the government would be dealt with in the same way they deal with the enemy. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:18.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocharis, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 20 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Unlock winnings, unlock value, unlock postpaid with Digicel. Sign up for your postpaid plan now, win $1 million. When you sign up and unlock postpaid with Digicel, you can win up to $1 million and more. Just sign up or switch to postpaid, upgrade or activate an add-on in the My Digicel app. Pay your bill in full on time and you can win an iPhone 17 Pro Max every week. A bill write-off up to 10 grand, a grand prize of $1 million. Unlock winnings with Digicel. Better connected.
Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Conditions apply. Promotion valid from February 6 to April 4.
To the women who give to everyone else, this International Women's Day, gain the future you deserve with Sagicor. Get protection with Sagicor Life's Total Woman Critical Illness Insurance. 10% off and a gift from Advantage General Ultimate Woman Auto Insurance. Special mortgage and auto loan rates, plus 7,500 credit card bonus points with Sagicor Bank. Lower trading fees with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to learn more. Conditions apply.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning, George. Morning to our listeners, all visitors, and everyone here, all transport operators, stakeholders. Morning. Well, Hollow Road. Well, as far as Mona Road, Wellington Drive, if you're into the Ligony area, and when I say Ligony area, we're talking about a part of Barbican Road, Hollow Road, Hope Road, all of that corridor is quite active, quite busy and congested. Going down Hollow Road, the same thing. So if you're coming off Mona Road, off Wellington Drive, onto Hollow Road, if you're coming from from Matilda's corner here and you're coming all the way down to Hollow Road, it's going to be traffic all the way. And it's going to carry all the way down towards the top of Mountain View and going past Stanton Terrace and going further down. Oh, what's happening over the other side? If you go on to Down Avenue, you see a bit of traffic there trying to make it onto Lady Musgrave Road. And when you get onto Lady Musgrave Road, you're going to find Trafalgar Road quite busy. As a matter of fact, in both directions, you're going to find Trafalgar Road. So if you're coming off Upper Musgrave or Musgrave Avenue to get onto Trafalgar Road, it's going to be traffic. Now, Trafalgar Road, there's traffic beyond that. Waterloo, Upper Waterloo. All these years are having a lot of traffic, and the other road that runs parallel Kingsway that takes you on the Hope Road, there's also traffic there. So all of that area, South Avenue, going on to Constance Spring Road and Constance Spring Road going down, plenty of traffic. So it's quite a busy Wednesday morning, and it's even bright and getting warmer also. So don't forget, many other areas has traffic, and it's a peak hour. So we know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. You negotiate, and the tailgating is a problem. So try not to be too close to your neighbor or fellow vehicle. So as usual, at Street Smart, your safety is our concern. It's over to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, front page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned into our discussion segment, The Front Page. On the front page this morning, getting some reactions to the finance minister's budget presentation yesterday in the House of Representatives. The government will be implementing major reforms to the financial sector as part of measures to boost the availability of capital for reconstruction and growth. During her contribution to the budget debate on Tuesday, Finance Minister Favour Williams announced that pension funds will be allowed to invest a larger portion of their assets in private companies. She also announced other reforms to unlock more idle capital for economic growth. Dana Davey tells us more.
As the country moves to rapidly recover from Hurricane Melissa, the finance minister told the parliament that capital from financial markets will be crucial for this endeavor. She says while the local financial sector is strong and resilient, it remains characterized by overregulation and bureaucracy. She says these are barriers which must be removed.
If you take a step back, Madam Speaker, and unemotionally assess the financial sector, you will conclude that our financial sector is at a more secure place based on many different factors. However, Madam Speaker, when I speak with the industry members, they point to several reforms that the government can do to have the sector produce more without unnecessarily increasing its risk. That said, Madam Speaker, I've gathered a list of reforms that the financial sector has been asking for. And the segment of the financial sector to which I speak are the securities dealers, life insurance companies, and pension funds.
One such area that the government will be targeting is an increase in the percentage of assets that pension funds can invest in private companies.
We will take a small but consequential step to increase the pension fund private asset limit from 5% of total assets to 7.5% of total assets. This represents a measured, reversible step to allow funds to begin reallocating to well-governed private investments that match their long-term liabilities. Subject to supervisory monitoring, and in the absence of any unforeseen adverse consequences, we will complete the second phase of this increase to 10% by April of 2027.
She says the adjustment will unlock an additional $21 billion for private sector investment. The foreign asset limit will also be increased from 10% to 15%. Life insurers will similarly have fewer limits on where they can invest. However, the minister says further financial sector reforms will be pursued to enhance efficiency and economic growth in a balanced and careful manner.
Madam Speaker, these proposals reflect a careful balance. We're removing unnecessary constraints that have kept capital idle, while embedding prudent governance and supervisory safeguards that protect investors, policyholders, pensioners, and the broader economy. With these measures, Jamaica will better mobilize its own savings, Madam Speaker, to finance our development priorities and strengthen the foundation for sustainable growth.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Thank you so much, Dana. And joining us now, financial journalist, founder and CEO of Money Media, Kalila Reynolds, businessman and former president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, John Mahfood, and chairman of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce's Economic Affairs and Taxation Committee, Keith Collister, is due to join us at 7:45, but we'll begin. My producer is telling me he's on as well. So welcome to Nationwide this morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin with you, Kalila. What were your highlights coming out of Minister Williams' presentation, as well as what do you believe was the essence of her presentation?
Well, certainly that section that you highlighted just now in your story with the changes coming to the financial sector, it is something that the Prime Minister hinted at the Jamaica Stock Exchange's conference in January, that there would have been some changes coming, and now we know what it is. Pension funds being allowed to invest more in private companies is a pretty big deal. $21 billion worth of capital being freed up during a time when the country needs it, when the country needs that investment in business, in development, in infrastructure in particular, and also during a time when we have seen some companies have difficulty raising money on the capital markets. So allowing those pension funds, and this is something that they have been pushing for some time now, allowing them to do that, I think it benefits the entire economy. So that was definitely one highlight. The other one for me was the launch of that fixed income trading platform that's going to be coming soon. So that will allow ordinary Jamaicans easier access to things like government bonds. So you hear government going to the markets to borrow money, right? Usually you think this is for, the big international companies, but not necessarily. A lot of government borrowing is done locally. And a lot of pension funds take this up. A lot of institutional investors take it up because it requires a larger amount of money to do, and it's not as simple as, say, buying stocks. But with this fixed income trading platform, ordinary Jamaicans will have easier access to buy things like government bonds.
Mm-hmm. And she also indicated in relation to that framework that they're trying to allow persons to produce more without creating a greater risk. Is that also your view on this move that she has made in relation to the financial sector?
To produce more what?
To produce more without creating any greater risk. So by freeing up, the pensions fund for persons to generate more capital there, she's saying they're able to produce more without creating a greater risk in terms of that aspect.
Right. Well, that is the hope and the expectation. So regulations have to remain strict. Mm-hmm. The reason that pension funds are currently limited to 5% is that pension funds is people's retirement money. And that retirement money is something that you do not want to take a great risk on. So things like the equities markets, trading in stocks, for example, are considered higher risk than buying government bonds. And so there has been this cap on what pension funds can do with that money. Mm-hmm. So yes, raising the limit to 10%, 7.5% first and then 10% eventually, is going to create greater risk. But what the government needs to do is balance that risk with the regulations to make sure that it's limited to certain types of investments. So you still can't be going out there investing people's retirement money on higher risk investments.
And John Mahfood, you're on the line?
Yes.
One of the key aspects for me, certainly, out of the minister's presentation is something that members of the business community, especially those who are micro and small, have been speaking on in relation to procurement. And the minister spoke to that yesterday as well, talking about the set-aside framework for micro and small businesses. Was that one of your highlights coming out of her presentation? And what were the other highlights in relation to the business community for you?
I think that the set-aside program she was talking about for micro and small businesses is a good thing. I hope that it can be done efficiently, and they can get small companies to compete and bid on contract work. I would have also liked to have seen where they increase the linkages between tourism and the small businesses in Jamaica. Currently, there is very, very little procurement, between hotels and small manufacturers, including the gift shops, including furnishing and so on. And I think that needs to be mandatory as well, so that the income that comes into Jamaica from tourism actually gets into the economy. The concern, going back to that issue of the pension fund being able to spend up to 10% on private companies.
Yes.
I am very concerned about that. I think that's a wrong move, because when you invest in a private company, there's really no way to get that investment back. If a company doesn't trade on the stock exchange, that money is essentially sunk. I think it's a wrong move. I would have preferred to see them make it mandatory for individuals who join companies to participate in a pension plan. Currently, only 15% of Jamaicans are covered by pension plans. And if that is increased, then you would have a much more significant impact on the economy, where the pension funds in Jamaica would increase from under $1 trillion to, much more over time, which would allow for savings and for investments in the economy.
Mm-hmm. And for you, Keith?
Well, I'll start with I do think that we need to promote pension fund ownership. Basically, we definitely need to have much more people joining pension plans and taking this very seriously. My view is a little different from John, however, on the first point. I actually think it's a very good move that they've moved it from 5 to 10%. However, obviously the devil is always in the details. So, for example, opportunity in Jamaica right now is that there's a huge infrastructure deficit need. So I was wondering whether they were going to carve out infrastructure separately, because typically infrastructure is medium risk type stuff. With for example, on the stock exchange now, you've got you've got various infrastructure investments actually listed. It is not always practical to have those things listed, or typically they're listed at the end. So I think there's a huge opportunity to finance for the equity that is from pension funds to mobilize some of that multilateral money. Because if we don't do that, we'll be in 3 to 5 years, we'll be looking at us and saying, well, where did this 2.4 billion US that we heard about, it's supposed to be coming from the multilaterals, actually happen? You won't see it. So I think, I'm assuming anyway, that is a critical part of the thinking of the government. If that is so, and if it's done right, I don't see any issue with it. Now, obviously, John is correct that if you have a private company and you have individual private investments, that there might be more risk there. But I would imagine that most of this money, if it is in fact invested, will go through funds, and that's another longer conversation. But in particular, what I would be hoping to see is the targeting of other infrastructure investments in Jamaica, similar to the ones we've actually seen already. Trans Jamaica, for example, has been a very successful, I dare say, a pension fund investment, for example.
All right, let's take the break, and when we come back from the break, we'll pick up.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, while we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good.
Jamaica, stop the killing and give up the guns. Just live good now.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is
7:37.
Whether you're buying your very first home, purchasing a more spacious home, or securing an investment property, a JMMB Bank mortgage gives you the confidence to take the next step. Enjoy low interest rates, competitive processing fees, a 1-month payment holiday available upon request, and exclusive merchant partner discounts to help you get move-in ready. Your dream deserves the right support. JMMB Bank Mortgage, you can do this. We can help. Speak with a mortgage specialist today at 876-998-JMMB or visit jmmb.com. Conditions apply.
This station raised me. It gave me a voice. And if Nationwide has ever meant something to you, come on in. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Over a month ago, we invited you to be a part of something special, something different. And you know what? Over 500 of you said, all right, we're in. That means over 500 of you decided to move from just being a listener to being a part of the family. The Nationwide Family Club isn't just an idea anymore. It's real, it's growing, and it feels good.
And because Family looks out for family, for the entire month of March, we're doing something extra. Every single week, one Family Club member will win a $25,000 supermarket voucher. That's 4 winners, 4 weeks, 4 real chances. Because when you stick with us, we believe you should feel it. Loyalty shouldn't be just be appreciated, it should feel rewarded.
The Nationwide Family Club is where you, our listeners, come closer. Not just hearing the stories, but seeing how they're made. Not just listening to the voices, but connecting with the people behind them. In the Family Club, you get early access to documentaries, exclusive content on air, member-only conversations, birthday shout-outs, breaking news alerts, and depending on your tier, studio experiences and private live streams. That's not just regular radio. That's family access.
This isn't just a subscription. It's connection. It's community. It's saying, I support what you do, and I want to be closer to it. More content, more interactions, more behind the scenes, and now, more chances to win.
And if you've been watching from the sidelines, we've been saving a seat for you. Join today. Be a part of the first 1,000 family members. And this March, you could be one of 4 people walking away with a $25,000 supermarket voucher. Go to patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. The Nationwide Family Club. Closer than radio, stronger than ever, and growing with you, our family.
Welcome back. Looking at the points made by the Finance Minister Favour Williams in her budget presentation as she opened the debate for the 26-27 fiscal year in the House of Representatives on Tuesday afternoon. We have with us Kalila Reynolds, John Mahfood, and Keith Collister. Kalila, the Finance Minister, was keen to show that she is listening, and she mentioned some things that people have been complaining about for some time. Among them, the issue concerning bank accounts and the switchability of bank accounts and the comparison of fees. What do you assess the impact of what she's proposing to do, where the switching of bank accounts is concerned and the creation of a platform where persons can compare the fees charged by the banks that they're interested in doing business with?
Definitely a move in the right direction. We've been talking about this particular issue for well over 10 years and making reforms to that, making it easier for people to access capital and to be able to switch. We know that Jamaica is burdened by the KYC regulations, those know your customer regulations that require a lot, but it really shouldn't take that much if institutions already have your information and you have to fill out the same paperwork over and over and over, and it just makes it so difficult for people to access the service and to be able to switch. So it's definitely welcome that they are implementing this website where you can go to see the banking fees so that you're not going to be surprised. But I do feel like there still needs to be an additional step because knowledge isn't enough when you have essentially an oligarchy in the banking system. You have, 6 commercial banks, and if they all are doing the same thing, then it's 6 on one, half a dozen on the other. I go over to you, but you're also charging the same fee or a similar fee. I don't know that the competition is really stiff enough for it to make a huge difference if you simply know what the fees are, because one bank might be charging me a smaller or even a free ATM withdrawal fee, but they make up for it in a different area. And so it becomes really difficult, but at least it is a step in the right direction.
Your view, John Mahfood, on the switchability of bank accounts and the fee comparison platform the government looks to establish?
I wouldn't add anything further to what Colleen said. I think those would be good moves. Even things like credit cards, all of the banks in Jamaica basically charge 30 to 40% interest because we don't have choices. So that's a good move. But I think what I would like to say overall, I was concerned that the minister, said she expects the economy to grow 1 to 2% next year. But I didn't see anything in her budget that would support that 1 to 2% growth. In other words, the hurricane caused a damage of 8 to 12 billion US dollars. There is no indication of how that is going to be funded. And certainly the government is not investing sufficiently in infrastructure, as Keith said. For instance, we need 20,000 to 50,000 low-income houses now. The NHD is not building homes themselves. They're not contracting with contractors, so they depend on private companies to build homes, and that's not happening. So they take in much more money than they're spending, and government is then taking that money and using it to fund regular expenditure. I would like to see the focus on the NHD actually using the money it was intended for and build houses. And the other problem I would mention is this 18 billion of new taxes. Most of it is coming, a lot of it is coming from taxing manufacturers in Jamaica with environmental tax and sugar tax and so on. And that affects companies in their ability to export. The more you tax local manufacturers, the less we are going to be exporting.
George, can I just respond quickly?
Yes, of course. I was going to go around the room with the growth question, but John preempted me. Go ahead, Khalida.
So that's exactly where the changes for pension funds come in as it relates to growth. So that is why the government is freeing up this extra $21 billion for pension funds exactly to invest in infrastructure, because we need that money to build low-income houses. We need that money to develop roads, to rebuild Jamaica. So the rebuild of Jamaica is not only supposed to be government-led, it's supposed to be private sector-led as well. And so freeing up these resources to do exactly that, that's where the growth is going to come from.
Keith, the issue of the growth, the projection, and of course you heard the finance minister and the fiscal commissioner sparring over the projections in the budget. Do you look at what has been presented and see a path to the growth within the band 1 to 2% for the fiscal year?
Well, I agree with John to a degree that this growth issue is the critical one. And whilst I agree with the minister's move, I think we're going to need more than that. We're going to And, there is going to be a recovery impact. So 1 to 2% in a recovery scenario is not that great.
It's doable.
It's doable, right. But I think the more important question, which I think John is really alluding to, is where is the overall growth strategy in terms of new industries? Yes, manufacturing will have a tougher situation with these new taxes. So we need to have a plan to push us forward and grow faster than 1 to 2%, not just because we're recovering from hurricane, because 1 to 2% has been what we've been doing basically for decades.
But stick up in, Keith. Stick up in. But isn't the consideration about the introduction of new industries and the growth of the kind that both yourself and Keith and John are talking about, isn't that in a normal environment, in a normal fiscal year? This is extraordinary because we all acknowledge the recovery effort that is underway, and you acknowledge the recovery impact / recovery bump. But so if that consideration is on the table, that reality is on the table, then how do we then criticize the absence of measures that would grow an economy under normal circumstances when these are not normal circumstances at all?
I'm not saying that this is something that I'm not actually criticizing this budget for that, because I think we're just in a recovery mode. But I think what I'm really saying is we now need to move into the growth mode. We now need to think, what is the agenda for growth? How do we find, what new industries can we get here? What can we do differently? How is the resilience strategy going to work? Which was mentioned I have an article in today's paper about the University of West Indies on growth and resilience, which is a team of the chief economist, the IDB. How can the multilaterals help us? All these issues are now front and center. So now we've said, all right, this is how we're going to finance the budget this year. Now we need to move very quickly to what I call a growth, the same growth inducement strategy that was talked about years ago.
Yeah.
Well, we need it more than ever now.
Yeah. So John, let me ask you then. With what has been announced for MSMEs, I mean, it's not new, but she says a new edict will be issued where the set-aside provision is concerned. The manufacturers, those especially in the beverage manufacturing business, there has been what is agreed across the industry as a crimp on their activities based on the sugar tax. All in all, are there the inducements and encouragement and the environment for manufacturers to continue production, ramping up production, investing in machinery and equipment, taking on staff over the new fiscal year to do their part to help us out of this hole?
I didn't see anything that would suggest that will happen. Manufacturers have to have a bigger market. That means the economy has to grow or they have to export. And there was nothing in there to induce exports. I want to also add to you, while the minister was positive about the growth in the foreign exchange reserve at 6.8 billion or 36 months, this comes at an expense. And there was no indication of where we are supposed to be going with the growth of the reserves. We haven't set a target. Most countries in the world, or the benchmark, is 12 weeks. We're now at 36 weeks. That 6.8 billion, which is being put into reserve, can be used otherwise to grow the economy. But the BOJ and the government seem intent on building and building without any end in sight. I don't think that's reasonable. And the other thing...
But hold on, John. You heard the finance minister yesterday speak of... It's a quip she drew for last year when her budget was being presented in the context of an election year, when she spoke about rent money. She's saying that, listen, this is the not rainy day money, because rainy day is the drawdowns from the risk instruments. But she says, listen, this is our insurance. The NIR really backs us up. So yes, we have 36 weeks. In the event that we get something Melissa scale in this new year or in the new year, we can defend ourselves. So that's really the target. So is it fair to say that it's being built with no end in sight, no target, and it is just sitting there when it can be put to productive use? Am I hearing you correctly?
I think the history of Jamaica is that the banks in particular and pension funds put their money in safe investments. They put it in fixed income and so on, and not in growing the economy. And this is the same thing. You keep on saving money for the rainy day, but when do you stop saving and start using it to build a house or to make production? So I believe that we're getting to that point now where we don't have to keep on building the reserve.
So let me hear you. Let me interrogate it a little bit. So if 12 weeks is the international benchmark, we have 3 times that. 3 12s, 36. You are saying that at a certain point, perhaps not 36 weeks, but maybe 40 weeks, at the 40-week mark, we could take some of the NIR and put into productive use while keeping our emergency or rainy day access, keeping the rainy day access real. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Do you agree, Kalila?
I think there has to be an end in sight, as John says. We do need a rainy day fund. Oil shocks are another one that we need to be prepared for, things like COVID that we never foresaw. So we do need to have NIR, and we need to have them healthy. $6.8 billion is a very robust number, but to know that what's the limit? Like, do you just grow it infinitely because you can, or do you use the money for productive use? I agree with John here.
Let's take the break and I'll get Keith's perspective on this. This is analysis of the Finance Minister's opening contribution to the budget debate with Kalila, John and Keith.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
7:53.
Hawkeye expresses heartfelt sympathy to all Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Melissa. As we recover together, we remain committed to securing what matters most. The temperature by Hawkeye is
25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 20 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Every day, Rosie has a glass of fruit drink with breakfast, an energy drink on the way to work, a flavored water with lunch, and 2 glasses of soda with dinner, which adds up to more than 50 teaspoons of sugar a day. And all that extra sugar could bring on obesity. Are we drinking ourselves sick? 71% of Jamaicans support a tax on sugary drinks. Help tackle obesity and protect our children's future. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica.
As a taxi man, every mickle make a muckle. I see him way, sir. BCIC Easy Pay stay.
Having 11 months to pay my car and home insurance, little by little, puts me at ease.
Exactly. With my type of business, we have to fret about pay a big money, yet always covered.
Get as much as 11 months to pay your car and home insurance while enjoying 100% coverage with BCIC Easy Pay.
Back with us on the front page, we're talking with Keith Collister, Kalila Reynolds, and John Mahfood. Caller just pointed out to us that there are 8 commercial banks in this space, not 6, but the point Kalila made when she pivoted on that is still valid. The way the behavior of the commercial banking sector almost acting in concert, let me be careful, almost acting in uniformity where the charges and fees that they levy are concerned. Anyway, Keith, the very important point was made by John and supported and endorsed by Kalila about the NIR. And given that it is so healthy, if at a certain point, we should put some of it into productive use, being mindful that given where we live and the reality of hurricane damage every single year and serious hurricane damage, if there's not wisdom in just letting it grow until we need to dip into it to support an emergency. Keith has dropped? Oh my God.
Could I put that back to you
wickedness.
as well, Kalila? Just adding on to what you said, but what George is pointing out now about where we live and hurricanes and all of that. Plus the geopolitical context right now. Don't you think within those contexts we need to not touch the NIR right now and keep growing it? Have we lost Kalila as well?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Did you hear the question, Kalila?
Yes, but I heard part of it anyway. I think I figure out what you're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying not to grow the NIR, right? We're just saying that how much is enough? What is that number? What is that number where you say this is what we're aiming for, and once we get there, we know it's enough? It's a simple, what is the cutoff point for where we need to reinvest the remainder of that money? So yes, we need the NIR. The NIR is already healthy. How much more do we need to get to for that rainy day figure? So in personal finance, people are advised to have 6 months of expenses saved up. And so for everyday purposes, you would calculate how much money that 6 months is. For Jamaica as a country now, how much money is that number? When do we get there? Can we have a goal in mind, or do we just continue saving forever? Because once you have, in personal finance, once you have your 6 months saved up, after that, now you can move to use the remainder to invest in stocks and bonds and purchasing property, etc. So what is that cutoff number for Jamaica?
Keith, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I was putting a question to you based on the viewpoint of your colleagues here this morning about the NIR and perhaps putting a portion into productive use, given that we are clearly ahead of the international...
It's not about putting a portion to productive use, George. We're just asking what is the cutoff point.
But the point was premised on getting to a comfortable cutoff point and then putting some into productive use is the point that John made. After we've gotten to
the NIR at all, so it wouldn't be a portion of the NIR because it wouldn't go into the NIR to begin with.
Go again. I didn't get you.
Can I? Maybe I can just make the point.
Yes.
I don't think we'd be saying to the BOJ, put some of your reserves into X, project. What all that would be happening is, until the hurricane, we're actually running a current account surplus, which is unusual for Jamaica. And we were trying to keep our dollar relatively stable by our standards. So I think the issue is, we're not targeting. I don't think the BOJ, frankly, will regard themselves as targeting a specific number. Maybe they want to give us a better idea of what they think is a rainy day fund level. But I think what we're really talking about here is that we need to have a strategy of making the economy work together.
Hold on, Keith. Kalila raised a point which we need to clear for the benefit of the listeners. Yeah, the point was based on what John said, because he made the original point. Based on where we are building this NIR, at a certain point that we determine to be comfortable, what do we do given that our reserves will be so substantial?
What I'm saying is there's a current. We're likely to run a current account, or we may run a current account deficit this year. So this idea that we'll keep building up reserves may not, in fact, be correct, because we'll need to recover for the hurricane. Unfortunately, I have to go, ladies and gentlemen.
The time is up, but we wanted to just straighten it up for the benefit of those listening.
So we're saying at a certain point, you just stop putting money into the NIR.
Yes.
So we're not saying to touch the NIR, just that once you get to the certain number that you're targeting, don't put any money.
And then the money that would have normally gone into there is used to do what?
To infrastructure projects, whatever.
Productive use, and that's the point, right? So that's exactly the point. So I'm saying
Remember that this point was a touchstone point last year early, when it was suggested during the budget presentation of the opposition leader, when he did mention something, which is what gave rise to the finance minister talking about don't party with rent money and keeping the reserves healthy just in case. So that's where the whole point germinated from, and that's the point, that very important point that was raised here this morning, and that got the endorsement of both yourself and John Mahfood. So we wanted to get the listeners clear, so it's not dipping in it to take it out, but when it reaches that certain point, those resources that you would normally put into it, you use elsewhere given the circumstances in the country.
Right.
So I think we're clear. Very well. So no misunderstanding there. Thank you for your time. We're way over the cutoff point. 8:02 is our cutoff point. Well, 8 o'clock is our cutoff point, and we're out of time. Thank you, Khalida. Thank you, John, for the perspectives.
Thank you.
And thanks so much to Keith.
And thanks to
as well.
Keith. He had to go early. All right. That's the front page. Across Jamaica comes up now. Front page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:02.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's Across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Wednesday morning, March 11, 2026 in Westmoreland, the police are reporting that a multi-agency intelligence-led operation conducted across several communities in the parish on Tuesday led to the seizure of illegal firearms, including a high-powered rifle. The operation involved the coordinated efforts of the Westmoreland Division, the Special Investigations Branch, the Specialized Operations Branch, the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, the Area 1 Fugitive Apprehension Team, the Transport Authority, and the Island Traffic Authority, with support from the Jamaica Defence Force. The teams targeted the communities of Savamar, Frome, Betheltown, Morgan's Bridge, Little London, and Withorn. The police report that during a search in Petersfield, the team seized an AK-47 rifle and a 12-gauge shotgun along with ammunition and imitation firearms. 4 persons were arrested and charged in connection with the seizure, while several others were taken into custody for processing as part of ongoing investigations. In another targeted raid in Bath Mountain, the team seized approximately $1.2 million in cash during the search of a premises. A woman was arrested on reasonable suspicion of breaching the Proceeds of Crime Act. The lawmen say traffic enforcement formed a significant component of the operation. They say several breaches of the Road Traffic Act were detected during the operation, resulting in the issuing of tickets and summonses, the removal of illegal tints, and the seizure of motorcycles operating outside the law. In St. James, residents of Ryan Park, Barretttown, and their environs should have water supply restored today, Wednesday. This is according to the National Water Commission, NWC. The commission says the supply was disrupted on Tuesday by what it described as a major leak affecting the Ryan Park No. 1 facility. The affected communities include Ryan Park, Rose Hill, Spot Valley, Mount Zion, Barretttown, Cornwall, Saigon, Palmyra, and Little East. NWC said, or Palmyra and Little East, NWC said it would effect the requisite repairs and have the service restored. Finally, in across Jamaica, there has been an 11% increase in the number of functioning fire hydrants across the country. This is according to the Minister of Local Government and Community Development, which released figures up to December 31, 2025. It says just over 16,000 hydrants are operational, representing 78% of the full complement of more than 20,500. The ministry says the number at the end of 2024 was 14,000. There has also been an increase in the number of hydrants nationwide. The ministry reports that 385 new hydrants were installed in 2025. And that's it for Across Jamaica.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Attention all data protection enthusiasts. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM every Tuesday at 8:20 a.m. and Thursday at 8:25 a.m. for a new program, Data Protection Matters. Starting June 4, 2024, join us as we delve into crucial topics that will keep you informed and compliant. Data Protection Matters is hosted by Chuck Cameron, founder of Design Privacy, your trusted partner in data protection. Don't miss out. That's every Tuesday morning at 8:20 and every Thursday at 8:25 a.m. Stay protected, stay informed with Nationwide 90 FM and Design Privacy.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Fit Nation is brought to you by Express Fitness 24/7. Your goal is our mission.
You wanna hot body? You want a Bugatti? You want a Maserati? You better work. You want a Lamborghini? Sip martinis, look hot in a bikini. You better work. You wanna live fancy, live in a big mansion, party in France? You better work. You better work. You better work. You better work. Now get to work. Now get to work. Ring it on, ring it loud. attention. Watch out now, 'cause here it comes. Here comes the smasher. Here comes the master. Here comes the big beat. Big beat to blast ya. No time to quit now. Just time to get it now. Pick up what I'm putting down. Pick up what I'm putting down. You want a hot body? You want a Bugatti? You want a Maserati? You better work. You want a Lamborghini? Sip martinis. Look hot in a bikini. You better work. You wanna live fancy? Live in a big mansion. Party in France? You better work. You better work. You better work. You better work. Now get to work.
That time of a Wednesday morning, it's time for Fit Nation. Fit Nation. In Fit Nation this morning, we're focusing on fixing hip pain, especially for persons over 50. So hip pain can stem from various causes, ranging from overuse injuries and arthritis to more serious conditions like fractures or infections. Common causes include osteoarthritis, tendinitis, and bursitis, while hip tears and stress fractures can also lead to pain and discomfort. Additionally, hip pain can be referred from the lower back or spine. So on Fit Nation this morning, we'll be telling you how to fix hip pains for a better life. And our guide is YouTuber Dr. Stephen Becker from the channel Body Fix Exercises for Over 50s.
The vast majority of outer hip pain comes from one group of muscles at the side of your pelvis, and strengthening these muscles can give you a lifetime worth of relief. But it has to be done in a very specific way to cover every important muscle. So today I'm going to show you the 1-minute exercise that fixed years of hip pain for me and has helped hundreds of my patients over the last 30 years, and the big mistake to avoid while doing it. The gluteus medius muscle is notorious for becoming weak, and the resulting muscle knots, tendinitis and bursitis causes most outer hip pain. But for some people, 2 nearby muscles can contribute to the pain, so 2 of the exercises that I'm going to show you today strengthen all 3 muscles. Set up by facing a wall, hands rested against the wall, standing on the leg of your painful hip. For the basic version of this exercise, simply use the muscles in your outer pelvis to slowly tilt your pelvis up on the other side, hold for a few seconds, and then lower again. Make sure that you're using the outer pelvic muscles of the leg that you're standing on to control the whole movement, not your other leg muscles or your back muscles. To cover the other muscles that can contribute to hip pain, start to vary the angle. Firstly, tilt your pelvis directly to the side, then change the angle by about 10 to 20 degrees to lift the other side of your pelvis slightly behind you, and then slightly in front of you. Repeat these 3 directions until you feel a light fatigue in your outer pelvic muscles. A bit of a burn, but no more. Do that daily until you reach about 10 reps comfortably, and then every second day as you begin to do more. You should aim to reach 20 reps on each side. The most common mistake people make when doing this exercise is flexing forward slightly at the hip. This makes the exercise easier but doesn't work the right muscles. So bring your pelvis forward more in line with your body before tilting up to the side. Over time, as you master this exercise, you can move on to the advanced version. Here, without using the wall, firstly tilt your pelvis up to the side, and then begin to move the opposite hip in a circular type movement, a bit like a slow hula hoop motion. It might help to imagine that you're drawing a circle with your opposite hip. Repeat until light fatigue, no more, and do that daily until you reach 10 reps on each side, and then every second day as you progress to doing more. Now, having this hip issue is really part of a bigger problem. These outer gluteal muscles are often the first muscles to weaken as we age, but as other muscles weaken, you can end up with a whole host of other issues like knee and shoulder pain, instability when walking, trouble with stairs, and getting up out of a chair. This is all avoidable though by maintaining your overall strength over the age of 50, which is crucial to keep your independence as you age. So for a bit of help with that, watch this video next.
Do this for 7 minutes a day, and in a week, feel better. In 2 weeks, look better. In a month, get toned. But you just have to get started. And if you don't know where to start, check out this chair workout challenge.
Often just the location of hip pain.
Thanks so much there to Dr. Stefan Becker from the channel Body Fix Exercises for Over 50s. And Dr. Becker was addressing their fixing hip pain, especially for persons over 50. That's it for Fit Nation.
You wanna hot body? You want a Bugatti? You want a Maserati? You better work. You want a Lamborghini? Sip martinis, look hot in a bikini. You better work. You wanna live fit?
Fit Nation was brought to you by Express Fitness 24/7. Your goal is our mission.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:18.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy, it's all good inside, is
27 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 25 out west in Montego Bay, and in Mandeville, 21 degrees Celsius.
You could win a return on your taxes. Pay your taxes with your Sagicor Bank business credit card at Tax Administration Jamaica or online for your chance to be one of 2 lucky winners of $500,000 cashback. Earn an entry for every $100,000 spent on taxes between February 27 and April 15. Plus, enjoy a 1-month payment holiday up to 55 days interest-free and unlimited reward points. Visit Sagicor.com to learn more. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Unlock winnings, unlock value, unlock postpaid with Digicel.
When you sign up, stay active, or upgrade, you could win up to $1 million and more.
Unlock winnings with Digicel.
Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Conditions apply. Promotion valid from February 6 to April 4.
Come into the parlor. There's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online on March 12 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast live from the World School Meals Day at the Mona Heights Primary School. Join nutrition professionals, advocates, parents, and students as we discuss nutrition, healthy school meals, and the National School Nutrition Policy. Together, we'll tackle one big question: how do we feed the future we want for our children? Don't miss this edutaining live broadcast. Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online on March 12 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the World School Meals Day at Mona Heights Primary School. Get a taste of the change our children deserve. Catch our broadcast on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2, or keep your channels locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Jamaica Youth Advocacy Network. Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. I do have some time for your calls. The numbers 630-9371-4 and 618-6730. Billboard, good morning. Good morning, Billboard. What's on your mind?
Where's George?
He's on a call. Be back shortly.
Okay, he's so busy. That is his nickname for me, you know, is Mr. Busy.
He can't help his man.
Listen to me very carefully. You see this interview this morning?
Mm-hmm.
You also bore this program also bore itself into that real number one show on this radio, you know. Although I know you claim yourself as number one.
Yes. What was your takeaway from the interview?
This interview this morning, it gives me chills. The way it was being conducted.
Mm-hmm.
And as a man, I must confess to you, I'm not an high school graduate, but I'm very commonsensical.
Yes, good. Mm-hmm.
The matters that surround the country. And this interview this morning is one of the top.
So what you take away from the interview, Billboard? What stood out to you?
It's edifying that in truth and in fact, all the analysts is giving, whether openly or no, giving the finance minister's presentation yesterday a passing grade.
Mm-hmm.
Which was good.
Yes, they did, but they also had some concerns, and you heard those.
Yes, so I say actually, an actual passing grade. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's above average.
Mm-hmm.
You get me?
Yes.
It's above average. And that's what pleases me, and she needs to listen to this interview, go back and tidy up what the negatives are, and come back and learn from it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And we move forward. What I'm happy about Nationwide with, this 4% station is falling up the other media to merge.
What is that, Billboard?
This 4% station, as they rated us, is actually falling up other media to merge, to stay alive. Because they have been so impactful out here.
Nothing like that, Billboard. Nothing like that. Nothing like that at all.
What I'm saying, you are so impactful out here that other people are actually moving away from other airwaves just to listen to Nationwide.
Oh, okay. Well, you're telling us that.
Makes me feel very good.
Okay.
I have an old story that I told Cliff a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That he was like that little light fan stick in the country. You don't know if you're young enough to know those days.
I know those, yes.
Where you never have so much light. And Nationwide was that little light in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And it has now grown. There's so much light now that will reach worldwide.
Yeah, we're happy to bring the news to you daily, as well as sometimes some entertainment.
I'm so proud.
The other day, I saw a YouTuber in the chat saying that she was on a flight and watching Nationwide on YouTube. So wherever you are in the world, we're happy we're able to have coverage in such a way that you guys can access us.
That little light fan stick has illuminated so much. It glows.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your intervention.
I'm very happy and proud of you and George combination. Very happy.
Thank you. Gonna take a next call. All right, Billboard. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Marie.
Oh, hi. Morning.
Morning, Marie.
Morning.
What's on your mind?
Lovely program as usual. Tona and George, I'm talking directly to the Prime Minister this morning because I don't think the representatives, the MPs and the parish council, I put them aside. So since it is that probably only he listens, I am saying you can't be doing development and it is counterproductive. They are building some hotels on this stretch down here past Iberia go down. And it is taking up too much travel time between the parish council and the police. They can arrange that the people them that is working over the new hotel find a way to use the road in such a way that they do not interrupt travel. You can't come out here every morning or every evening and you're sitting down between Greenwood and Long Bay for 2 and 3 hours to go a bay. And then when you reach a Montego Bay, you have to sit down one next 2 hours to go a Fairview. It is taking up productive time.
What are the impediments?
The impediment is just that them dropping off people and people that go over work and vehicle they turn over there and they have a big piece of side road where they can arrange for the vehicle and the people them to use the side road in such a way that the traffic flows same way. You can't get, this is at Portmore and Kingston where you know they are just straight traffic. It is just untidy.
So it's so much of them? It's so much of them, Marie?
Huh?
It's so much of them a morning time. That's.
They not trust me. Me not think of so much of them. As me say, they just untidy and everybody are tapping at the road and people they do what they feel like do. While me sit down in the road and can't reach a bay and every evening and every morning. There are going to be other construction because you see them clearing down the whole of the roadway. But they can do it in such a way that you drive and they wonder what they're going over there. So. But now you know what is happening because you sitting out here, not going in. You're done your gas and we can't buy gas already. You can't reach out the people them work and you hardly have no work already. We have houses fixed up and all sorts of something. They need to arrange it in such a way because people are under pressure already, you know. You don't need to seem no harder. Right? So whatever they are doing, you can't put up big hotels like these and you know have arrangements for the people that are using the main and the only roadway. It cannot be. We keep doing things like we're backward people and then when we're done we say we're the extra first world status. Why is it that now you have traffic from almost halfway to Montego Bay? Why is it happening? And every day, you don't need to happen. The common sense people them because if they allow me and we go out there and show the people them how to pull over there so all who they drop off over whatever the hotel name, use at the side of the road and use it properly so that you don't impede the rest of the roadway. And then because of that, you have people much to kill off them one another because then they use the piece of road the people to walk. You understand? And when police come, then they put on their light and drive past you like nothing happen. And them can't go on where they feel like go. And we just sit down out here, can't do nothing, can't go nowhere. It don't make no sense when we reach our work morning time at 10 o'clock, a half day.
So you're saying, Marie, based on how the road is set up, there's a way to arrange it to allow all the people them going on the hotel work site to go on the hotel work site without impeding you guys going about your regular business?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
If them use the road and they arrange it properly, put cone or something, if the vehicle them go drop them off, them pull from that side there. The rest of we use the rest of the road, who they go so go along and who they go down so go along down there. But you have to stop because people that run across the road, trucks it up in the road, people that walk across the road like one road a cow because they're no business, and it impedes the traffic for the entire day. And because we endure and nobody now say nothing, and we used to things just not done properly, we endure it every day. We need to respect ourselves, man.
So flag persons and police personnel aren't out there in the mornings and afternoons?
No police not out there. You have some security guard with a flag man when people go over the hotel, then come out, come hold up one right thing. You sit down in a traffic all along already, and then them just come out, come turn up in the road and hold up. You have to tap to make truck go along in and come out. But one to the rest of it. We have people work to go, and we have civil work to go, and we are wasting too much time sitting in the road.
Heard you this morning, Marie. So you said it's the stretch of road where Iberia Star is.
Like Lilliput, where them are building hotel. Mr. All next locals and him give them permission to build it. So tell them to fix up the thing so that me can go along where me go. And the rest of with the 1 million we will park up out there. So send one drone now, you that they wonder what they happen. Can't go along which part we go. Because it's annoying me right now. Look how early me wake up, me can't catch a beer.
Heard you, Marie. Heard you.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Have a time to squeezing another? No? Oh, all right. Let's take the break and come back with more on NTM.
From the world to Jamaica, CFL delivers. Global reach, Caribbean reliability. Call 876-320-2263 or visit shipcfl.com. The time by CFL Jamaica is
8:34.
So some of you have been listening longer than I've been talking on radio, so this is our way of keeping it strong together. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club on Patreon and stay with us.
Over a month ago, we invited you to be a part of something special, something different. And you know what? Over 500 of you said, all right, we're in. That means over 500 of you decided to move from just being a listener to being a part of the family. The Nationwide Family Club isn't just an idea anymore. It's real, it's growing, and it feels good.
And because family looks out for family, for the entire month of March, we're doing something extra. Every single week, one family club member will win a $25,000 supermarket voucher. That's 4 winners, 4 weeks, 4 real chances. Because when you stick with us, we believe you should feel it. Loyalty shouldn't just be appreciated, it should feel rewarded.
The Nationwide Family Club is where you, our listeners, come closer. Not just hearing the stories, but seeing how they're made. Not just listening to the voices, but connecting with the people behind them. In the Family Club, you get early access to documentaries, exclusive content on air, member-only conversations, birthday shout-outs, breaking news alerts, and depending on your tier, studio experiences and private live streams. That's not just regular radio. That's family access.
This isn't just a subscription. It's connection. It's community. It's saying, I support what you do, and I want to be closer to it. More content, more interactions, more behind the scenes, and no, more chances to win.
And if you've been watching from the sidelines, we've been saving a seat for you. Join today. Be a part of the first 1,000 family members. And this March, you could be one of 4 people walking away with a $25,000 supermarket voucher. Go to patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. The Nationwide Family Club, closer than radio, stronger than ever, and growing with you, our family.
All Things Real Estate is brought to you by the Real Estate Board, Commission of Strata Corporations.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. All Things Real Estate is upon us on this morning, and the customer service manager at the Jamaica Real Estate Board, Jermaine Sims, is back with us. Morning again, Jermaine.
Morning. Thank you for having me once more.
Yeah, man. All right. So last week we looked at relicensing of real estate dealers and salesmen. This week I think we should talk about developers and developments. So who exactly is required to register as a developer with the board?
Okay. All right. So according to the Real Estate Dealers and Developers Act, it defines a developer as a person who carries on a development. So whether they do it in whole or in part, even if it is that they intend to subdivide a land, they would have to be registered, especially, they would need to be registered once it exceeds the number of lots or units. Once they exceed 5, then they would be required to register. And this is in the case where they intend to dispose of those developments or subdivisions. So if they plan to sell it, then they have to do that.
Mm-hmm. From a buyer's perspective, what protections are built into a developer being registered with the Real Estate Board?
All right. So some of the protections that are built in is that it protects the public who may be considering purchasing a development. So they are able to verify these developers and also to ensure that whatever it is that they were promised contractually, then those obligations are fulfilled. And if it is that the scheme for whatever reason the development may fail, then the board is able to step in and offer assistance to persons who engage registered developers.
Mm-hmm. And the consequences if a developer has a development, fails to register, and then attempts to sell that to a purchaser?
All right. So if a developer fails to register a development, under the Real Estate Dealers and Developers Act, he actually commits an offense and may be liable for fines and possible imprisonment.
One can imagine that there is a whole heap of people who are registered. What's the registration role, if you have that number, and what percentage of people who are in the development business do you think are properly registered with the Real Estate Board?
Well, we're not able to say percentage-wise, but for the vast majority though are registered, and we do see persons doing their due diligence by making checks with the board to see if these individuals are registered. And we year on year we see an increase in the number of developers who actually initiate the process of registration prior to starting a development.
One would imagine that it's perhaps a difficult formula used to calculate the developments being registered, given the size or given the size of units they're in, or the scale of the development in terms of property occupied. What is that simplified rate or book of rules that applies to a developer and a development so they can know what it is that they're required to pay to be in good standing with the Real Estate Board?
All right. So pretty much on our website, there is a little calculation that can provide them with assistance to register. So, case in point, they know that if it is that you're doing let's say 6 to 20 units, then it comes with a certain fee. Then there's 21 and above and so forth. So there is a formula to calculate it. Persons can either give us a call, or they can check our website in order to get that information. But of course, generally that part, the fee aspect of it, generally don't come up front. So once it is a person's coming with the required documentation, then at that point we are able to provide them with the calculation.
And how robust is your, I don't know if you call it auditing or monitoring, to verify that what is presented to you documentation-wise in terms of the size and scale of the development actually matches what is physically at the location?
Right. So when it comes to that aspect of it, we do have our inspectors that do routine inspections and site monitoring. So it's not just a matter of an individual come in and submit an application and get approval. The inspectors do go out and inspect these lots or these developments in accordance with what is approved by the respective parish councils, to ensure that what they propose is what they were approved to do in the first place.
And on the point of due diligence, people who are interested in purchasing a property and go to the real estate board and want to search if indeed a developer is in good standing and if the development is approved, people will tell you that, boy, I went and I can't navigate because of broken links or an inadequate search facility on the website. Talk to me about the search facility that exists at the real estate board for people to do this back checking to see if what they're getting into is legitimate.
All right, so checking if a developer is registered is pretty straightforward. Last week we spoke about how to check if a real estate practitioner is registered. So the principle is the same on our website. Once you go there, right at the top, there's a button that says Search Public Register. Once they click on that button, they are presented with the option to select if they want to check if the developer is registered. They can also check if the development is registered. So it's pretty simple. It's right on the homepage of our website, Search Public Register. And if it is that they're having any difficulty, they can instead choose to write us, or they can give us a call.
And no broken links.
No broken links.
That's the bugbear. All right. I guess for people who have done this thing already, Jermaine, they know what the payment options are. But for the newer ones wondering, how do I settle what I owe? What are the options available to them to so pay?
Okay. So we have embarked on a initiative where the developers will be, the existing developers will be emailed their statements. So now that they have to register their individual developments, we will be emailing them their statements based on the number of developments that they have. If it is that for some reason they may not receive those statements, they can, the same procedure, either write us or they can give us a call.
Excellent. All right. And of course, for general information, what number should they contact?
All right. So they can call 926-9748-9. And our email address is info@reb, as in real estate board, .gov.jm.
Yeah. And overall, you'd say that the compliance rate is good and the level of delinquency is low. Is that accurate?
Yes, the compliance rate is good. Of course, there can always be room for improvement, and we're actively working to do that. And especially, we are also embarking on our public education campaign to, sensitize persons about doing their due diligence in terms of checking the registration status of these individuals. Now, we do see it. We do have persons that call us, persons that email us, as well as persons do check our website as well. And if it is that some of them do check the website and they may have second thoughts about what they see, and they still end up on call us. So it's not a problem. We are here to provide that service.
Excellent. Jermaine, thank you this morning, and we'll talk again.
All right, no problem. Thank you very much.
Customer Service Manager at Jamaica Real Estate Board, Jermaine Sims, talking about development and development requirements and the registration of developers and the developments that they are managing and that they are looking to sell to members of the public. The program brought to you with the support of the Real Estate Board.
All Things Real Estate was brought to you by the Real Estate Board, Commission of Strata Corporation.
Decorate like a designer with BH Paints. The time brought to you by BH Paints is
8:46. So Rick Jam NYC says, TT and George, happy birthday to my elder brother Tovio in Portmore. He's a salesman that works for National Bakery. Big up on your earth strong brother. So Rick Jam NYC, his brother Tovio in Portmore, his big brother Tovio in Portmore, salesman for National Bakery. Tovio, your brother sends birthday greetings for you on this day and wishes you a great one. All right? Easy, Rick.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday greetings also going out to Mrs. Violet Thompson, ODJP, a retired educator and past president of the Roehampton Estate Citizens Association. And Mrs. Violet Thompson is 99 years old today. Happy birthday to you. Wishing for you a lovely day. And this message is for you, Mrs. Violet Thompson. Age is more than a number. It's a story of your incredible journey a life well lived, and the paths you have walked with dignity and grace. Sending you a huge hug with loads of love and blessings. Have an awesome day from the residents of Roehampton Estates community.
The nines have
happy
it.
Birthday.
The nines have it. 99 not out. Baton, mum.
Indeed,
Baton.
indeed.
Let me send birthday greetings as well to Pamela Lodge, one of our loyal listeners. She lives in Olive Park in Santa Cruz in St. Elizabeth. Pam, good morning to you. Good morning to you. You draw the tea yet in Pam? On this their birthday. Happy birthday to you. Hope you get enough presents today. And I hope you enjoy the day as a foundation member of this nationwide family. All right, Pamela Lodge, all the best to you down there in Olive Park, Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth, as you celebrate your birthday on this day, Wednesday, March 11, 2026.
I see Donna Llewellyn sending belated birthday greetings to her sister Karen Llewellyn, quiet listener of NNN. Good morning to you, Karen. And works at Ideal Finance on Ripon Road. Her day was the 8th, so belated happy birthday greetings to you, Karen. Your sister says happy birthday also to, or rather, happy birthday also to my daughter. So it's your daughter's birthday today, Donna Llewellyn. Happy birthday to your daughter, Symphony. Happy birthday.
Symphony.
Wishing for her, a lovely name.
Beautiful.
Lovely name.
Beautiful.
Wishing for her a wonderful day. I'm also seeing here Sharon Kane sending belated birthday greetings to her daughter, beautiful daughter Amoy. Happy birthday to you. Belated happy birthday greetings to you, Amoy. Hope you had a wonderful one. Greetings coming from your mommy, Sharon Kane. Erica Smith sending happy birthday to her mom, Leah White, wishing you many more blessed years from your children. Oh, it's from your children and grandchildren, Leah White. Happy birthday to you, coming from your children and your grandchildren. Carlene sending special birthday wishes to son. Is it Hoshia? Hope I'm pronouncing that right, Carlene. Happy birthday to him. He works at the NWA. Good morning to you. All the best to you on your special day. Happy birthday to you, Hoshia, from your mom, Carlene. And happy birthday greetings going out to Christopher Charlie, CEO over there at Statement Pieces in Kingston. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Rose Wallace at Shrewsbury Housing Scheme in Petersfield, Westmoreland. Barbara Burton, General Manager at Royalton Trelawney. Happy birthday to you, Miss Barbara. Happy birthday as well to Fitzroy Ford, CEO at Falmouth Police Canteen. And retired teacher, Miss, Carmeline Wilson in Sav. Happy birthday to all of you. Wishing you a wonderful day, coming from Sergeant Wayne Wallace. Over on Facebook, Joylyn Elise Allen, Felicia Foster, Stephanie Taylor, Arlene Curry, Sherry Gale Bryan. Happy birthday to you guys as well over on Facebook. Wishing for you a great day. D. Tolla in the chat, sending belated birthday greetings to Joyce Richards and Shade Graham of 24 Barclay Street in Sav. From Denise and Uncle Derek. So belated birthday greetings to both of you, Joyce and Shade, from Denise and Uncle Derek. Paul Brown sending belated birthday greetings to Everton Ellis in Toronto, Canada. Good morning, Everton, over there in Canada. It's your birthday, or it was your birthday. Belated happy birthday greetings to you from Paula Brown. Francine Webb sending happy birthday greetings to Caleb Samuels, all of 7 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Caleb. Wishing for you a good one from Francine Webb.
Say we have no fear. Say we have no fear. Cause with daddy is here. Him have a standard you can't fear. He's my daddy. Oh Lord Jesus. Say I know one. Cry and we pray. We pray in the night and we pray in the day. And every time we go on my knees, devil have to run away. Lord Jesus. Say I know one. Cry and we pray. We pray in the night and we pray in the day. And every time we go on my knees, demons have to run away. Lord Jesus, when the devil attack, when the devil attack, God I'm move on me back. Unfathomable. They don't have a clue. Them running up your mouth, but you bigger than what people say. Glory to your name, God. Hallelujah, magnificent God. Just name mega magnificent.
Two more birthdays here. Warren McLeod sending happy birthday greetings. He says, please wish my second sister of 7 and my youngest grandson a very happy birthday. So happy birthday greetings to Warren McLeod's sister and his youngest grandson, wishing for both of them a great day. And William Price is sending belated happy birthday greetings to Levi Price. His birthday was yesterday. So Levi, belated happy birthday greetings to you from William Price.
Bigger than your future, bigger than your past, bigger than your job, bigger than your boss, bigger than your exam fail or passing, bigger than bigger than what people say. Jesus, bigger than what people say. Undisputed. I hear them talking, I hear them running up their mouth, but you're bigger than what people say. Oh, you think so?
A final one before we go. Naomi Thames is sending happy birthday greetings to granddaughter Kathian Thames. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Sweet 16. She's in West Palm. So happy birthday greetings to you. Greetings coming from your grandparents, Naomi and Barry. So it's Kathleen Thames, sweet 16 years old today, in West Palm, and the greetings are coming from your grandparents, Naomi and Barris. So that's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide this morning. 876 Thelma sending birthday greetings to little sister Janet McLeod in Dover, wishing her all the best. So happy birthday to Janet McLeod in Dover, coming from your big sister Thelma here in the YouTube chat. And Everton Harris sending happy Earth Strong to son DeAndre Harris. His birthday was yesterday, so belated happy birthday greetings to you as well. Thanks so much to our technical operator Jermaine King, our super producer Michelle McCrae Smith, and our super editor in the newsroom Kimon Thompson. Up next, the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton, and at 10, Cliff Hughes Online. I'm Tana Santana Thomas. You have a very good morning.
Oh my gosh, Mr. King, come on now.
Them feel when them ask read. Alexia tell them say them can't find Pradine. Gotta work for me. I throw me clean and a dirt for me. Fresh. You know, see.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
We did under construction. God knew me need a little work fun. Make sure the anointing a function. And I hide me soul from corruption. Let me tell you, me under construction. God word when me name out of me lunch pan. Improvise so no man me no sponge pan. I got that do it and this is no assumption. How far we a come from. No rush, gotta fix and tweak. Him a do the work so the world can see. Hard with top, pure concrete. Wash when me sin control.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
Across several parishes, new